Hi there. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Define the Odds with me, Annabelle Kemi. You know, this is what we do every Sunday. We try to improve the world one woman at a time. It's been a while, and I must apologize that I've not been here for quite a while. It's due to circumstances beyond my immediate control. So please bear with me. But it's good to be back with you, and I'm excited to be here again doing this, rubbing minds with women like me and possibly some men who are also listening in. So, once again, thank you for joining me on the show today. And, a lot of us talk about self love. This notion of self love, an idea of self love, has become a very common thing now. Many women have improved their lives because they have learned to love themselves better. And it's kind of liberating and empowering. And I must say, the fact that it has become commonplace in our vocabulary, in our way of lives now, it is worth applauding. And I am grateful for that. I am grateful that somebody saw reasons why we should start talking more about self love. And particularly for women, it has helped to improve our lives generally. For me personally, I know when I decided to start loving myself more, life became more fun for me. And I discovered that if I did not work on my self love enough, my relationships were not going to work. However, today I will be talking about what self love is not. So, I have come up with 6 very important things that are not self love, and a lot of us mistake for self love. People don't get to read about and understand exactly what self love entails before they go about singing that what they're practicing is self love, blah blah blah. It has become a mantra for a lot of people, but many of us do not really get the idea of self love. Because if we all loved ourselves as much as we claim that we do, the world would have been a better place, don't you think so? So, what is self love not? First and foremost, I believe that self love is not arrogant. I see a lot of young ladies who profess self love, and in the name of self love, they act very haughty and arrogant and conceited and self absorbed, and it shocks me. I do not believe that that is what self love should be, ideally. The fact that you love yourself does not automatically mean that you should act like you know it all. That is not what self love is. Arrogance has got absolutely nothing to do with self love. If you are arrogant, you are simply arrogant. Do not blame it on self love. Do not claim to love yourself, or do not act like a peacock, all in the name of self love. It is wrong. So, ladies, self love isn't arrogance. Please note that. Another thing that I think we need to know is that self love isn't selfish. We mistake self love for selfishness. Then we try to do things to please ourselves alone, not considering the people around us. That is not what self love is. If you love yourself well, you will understand that you need to love other people as well. That is the whole idea of self love. You love yourself enough to be able to share the love with other people. Self love does not mean that you should not help people out. Self love does not mean that you should hoard everything you have to yourself, all your resources to yourself. That is not what life is about. Self love does not mean that you should not care for the people that God has put in your life. Absolutely not. Self love, if done the right way, will even push you or prod you to love people in need more. You will understand that if I am feeling this way, then it means the other person must be feeling this way too. That is why I should be kind to the next person. That is the whole idea of self-love. So self-love is not selfish. Take note. Now, another thing self-love is not is deceptive. Self-love does not deceive itself. You cannot say you have self-love and you cannot tell yourself the truth. Self-love is actually telling yourself the truth. Looking at situations the way they are supposed to be and not sugarcoating it, not pretending like all is well when all is not well. Self-love is not acting as if everything around you is perfect, nothing is amiss, and giving the world a flawed view of who you truly are or what is happening around you. That is not self-love. What I see on social media a lot of times is people faking it and acting like their lives are perfect. Oh, nothing goes wrong around them. Everything is just superb, all in the name of self-love. No, no. If your audience on social media are good enough to show the good side of your life, all the positive things happening in your life, then you should trust them enough to be able to show them the downside of your life, those times when you're sad, those times when things are not working. That is balance. And that, in my opinion, is more self-love than pretending to be what you're not, deceiving yourself. Self-love is not deceptive. It doesn't deceive the other person, neither does it deceive itself that everything is perfect. Because if you do not tell yourself the truth about your life and the way things are going, or how you feel, the truth about your feelings, about situations, you may never be able to get it right. That's what I think. The fourth point is that self-love is not fearful. Self-love is you not being afraid to say exactly how you feel about things or situations. Self-love is you being able to air your views confidently and not pretend like everything is okay because you're afraid that people will perceive you a certain way. That is not self-love. Self-love is not fearful. Self-love is courageous. Self-love is bold enough to accept how you feel about things, air your views, not being arrogant about it, or airing your views exactly how you feel with a view to sorting things out with the other person or the other people you're dealing with. Self-love gives you the courage to say it as it is. Self-love gives you the courage to stop licking boots and acting like you have to be prim and proper around everybody. You're basically timid. That is not self-love. Self-love is not fearful. Self-love is courageous. Self-love is bold enough to feel what it feels and is bold enough to air its views. That is what self-love is. Now, next is that self-love is not lazy. Self-love is not lazy. I think I need to emphasize this. I understand that you have to take care of yourself, relieve stress more if you're practicing self-love. That is good. But there's a fine line between loving yourself so much and taking care of yourself and being lazy. Self-love actually encourages you to work harder for your future. Self-love encourages you to improve your knowledge by reading books. Self-love is not you sleeping under the blanket all day and saying self-love, I love myself too much, I don't want to put myself under pressure. Or you wake up and say, this job is too hard, I love myself too much, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. My dear, poverty will creep in like a thief. That is not self-love. Self-love is actually hardworking. Self-love makes you want to improve on your life, improve on your knowledge, improve on your resources, your financial status. That is self-love. Self-love is you wanting to be the best version of yourself possible in all ramifications. Physically, mentally, spiritually, intellectually, in all ramifications. That is true self-love. Now, another thing self-love is not is that self-love is not competitive. I see a lot of us want to compare our lives to what we see on social media, to other people's lives. Allow other people be themselves, but do not compare your life to other people's lives. in the name of self-love. You want to now be like that celebrity you see on social media every day, or that person you tend to admire on social media, and you're not being your true self. That is not what self-love is. Self-love is not competitive. The only competition you should have, if you're actually practicing self-love, is yourself. Compare your yesterday or your today to your yesterday. Compare where you are now to where you were some times back, and use that as a yardstick to improve your life. That is what self-love is about. Self-love is not about comparing yourself to that person that has gone a million miles ahead of you and then forcing yourself to do the things you're not supposed to be doing, cutting corners so that you can measure up. That is not self-love. Self-love is not competitive in any way. That is based on lifestyle. I'm not saying you should not be competitive in other aspects. Maybe if you're an athlete, for example, or you're in school, that's a different thing. What I'm saying is self-love compares itself to itself. As in, I compare my successes today to my achievements of yesterday. Have I improved? How much progress have I made? That is what self-love is. You should begin to note these things that self-love is not. I started by saying that self-love is not arrogant. Please note that. Stop mistaking rudeness and arrogance for self-love. It is not that you love yourself doesn't mean you should be arrogant or rude to people. Self-love is not selfish. It loves other people just as it loves itself. Also, self-love is not deceptive. It's not afraid to tell itself the truth about the situation of things around his or her life. Self-love is not fearful. That's number 4 now. Self-love is not fearful. It's not timid. Then self-love is absolutely not lazy. Self-love is hardworking enough to improve his life. Self-love gives you the zeal to want to add value to your life and to the lives of other people around you. That is what self-love is. It is not lazy. Trust me. Self-love actually makes you work harder if you're practicing it the right way. And lastly, I said that self-love isn't competitive. Self-love only compares yourself to yourself, compares you today to your yesterday, not to some other external entity. So basically, that is what I have to share with you today. I just thought I should clarify a few things because I see a lot of people practicing self-love the wrong way, and I wonder, is this what self-love really is about? So if we truly want to love ourselves more, we should note these things. Thank you for listening to me on Define the Odds today. I hope you were able to learn 1 or 2 things from what I shared about self-love. Thank you, and do enjoy the rest of your week. I love you.